Hi guys, and welcome to another Freespin Friday, the series in which I'll be talking about whatever's on my mind while having a spin in a driving game. This week we're going to be going for a spin in Chase HQ on the Game Boy. So yeah, I've been having a rummage through my video game collection and I completely forgot about my Game Boy sitting up there in the bag with loads of games. I didn't have one of the original grey Game Boys. The first Game Boy I had was one of the, I think they were limited edition, one of the yellow Game Boys. And you may have seen from my, I did a video of tennis yesterday, which was an absolutely fantastic game. And playing that got me thinking, was tennis on the Game Boy my earliest multiplayer memory? And so this video I'm going to be asking you guys, what is your earliest multiplayer memory? It actually wasn't tennis for me. It goes back a little bit further than that to the Atari 2600. There was a game on the Atari 2600 called, I think it was called Combat. I'm going to have to look it up actually. And you could control either a tank or a plane or a helicopter. And you played kind of player versus player, so chasing each other around the screen, trying to shoot each other. And it was a really great game that I had a lot of fun with. I would play that against my brother and just, have a lot of fun. I talked in my tennis video a bit about the old Game Boy link cable where you could link to each other's consoles and kind of play against each other. And tennis wasn't the only game that I used to do that with. I remember another really early memory is playing lots of Pokemon like that. I spent hours trading or battling with my friends, and it was a really kind of addictive thing that I always wanted to get a kind of one-up on my friends or beat them or something, The other really kind of fond big memory that I have of multiplayer games would be, and this is probably the same for a lot of you, would be GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. That was a phenomenal game that pretty much everybody seemed to have. And I would spend a lot of time around at my friend's house doing 4-player GoldenEye, shooting each other, death matches, whatever, you name it, or even just sometimes just watching each other play the single-player campaign, which sounds really sad, but somehow that retained my attention when I was younger. I don't think it would retain my attention now, to say the least. But we used to do loads of 4-player games, and if you've seen the 16-Bit Brothers channel, you'll know how much fun it can be just getting 4 guys together and having a bash at an old game. They did a video of a game called Speed Freaks recently. And Speed Freaks was another really good game. It was kind of, I don't know, Sony's answer to Mario Kart, I suppose. And it was a similar premise, you played as different goofy characters and you had kind of carts and you just raced against each other. You fired missiles and things at each other. But it was a really fun game, and I spent a lot of time in that, and I'd actually really like to play that again. Watching 16-Bit Brothers video of it really reminded me of it. Yes, and the other big multiplayer memory that I will bring in is Quake 2. Quake 2 on the PlayStation 1. Multi-tap, 4 people, so much fun. The railgun, what a weapon. And I do still play that on the N64 now, actually. And it's still a lot of fun today, but the graphics are a bit painful on the eyes, as I may have mentioned before. So yeah, Combat on the 2600 was, on the Atari 2600 was my first multiplayer memory. So guys, please do share in the comments below what your early multiplayer memories were, and I'm sure we'll have a good laugh comparing. Now, some of you have probably been playing games for a lot longer than I have, and we'll have some slightly more retro games on the Atari 2600. Alright, the other thing I wanted to talk about in this video was video game prices. Now, I'm going to sound like a right grumpy old man by grumbling about video game prices, but very rarely these days I'll want to buy a new game when it comes out. Maybe not the day it comes out, but the week it comes out or soon after. And so I went to Game, as you do, and the game was 45 quid on the Xbox. And I was ranting to myself and to my housemate about how much of a rip-off that is. In my head, I've got a limit set, and the limit is a new game, no matter how good it is, should never be more than £30. And I don't know where that comes from, but that's kind of always the price that they've been, £30, no more. So yeah, I was really pissed and I didn't buy it. And And obviously one of the big problems that game shops have these days is that everything is cheaper online. And even when I'm shopping for second-hand games now, I will basically have my phone there and I'll Google the prices. And if I can't get the game for cheaper on Amazon, then I'll pick it up. Now that might sound a bit pedantic, but I don't know, I just don't like the idea of paying over the odds or getting ripped off just because I'm going to a shop. I mean, sure, you get the benefit of having the game and taking it straight away, but also, I don't know, that's not worth paying more for, is it? But that got me thinking, what is the most expensive game that I have, or what's the most that I would pay for a retro game? And I have paid a reasonable amount of money for old Mega Drive games. But even then, I think £40. Yeah, £40 would be my limit, and that was Gunstar Heroes, which is a really well rated game that seemed difficult to get for any cheaper than that, so I just conceded. But that's the exception rather than the rule. So I've pretty much gone off game these days, but I've found a nice new, really cheap store called Granger Games. And Granger Games sell games both second-hand and new for really good prices. I did a video of Persona 4 Arena recently, and that was brand new, £15. Incredibly cheap, really good value. And so I'll be going there a lot more often. But I'd like you guys to tell me, what are your most expensive games, and what's the price that you're willing to pay for a game, modern or retro? As I said recently, I have been buying a lot of games on Steam, and because Steam is so cheap, I think that's partially skewing my idea of how much games should be. Now, of course, they're cheaper because they're not physical copies, but still, I think that kind of made me look for a bargain much more keenly. After the Steam summer sales, I'm reluctant to pay a lot of money. So yeah, please let me know early multiplayer experiences and how much you're willing to pay for games. Alright guys, go and enjoy the sunshine. Take care and see you all soon. Bye.